Hello everyone. Welcome to BizTech channel. Today I will show you how to create simple quiz on Google Forms and how to do auto marking. Please note that our scope is not to go through all features of Google Forms, but to show a quick method using simple and limited features. So let's get started.
On your browser, type forms.google.com and it will bring you to this screen. This is Google Forms screen. Please remember that I am already logged in. So if you are not logged in and you type it for the first time, it may ask you for the Gmail ID and password. Now to create a new form, you click on the plus sign and it will create a new form for you. Okay, once your new form is created, new quiz is created, you want to change the title and the description. So you click here and you say, for example, quiz number 1. And in the description, you can write quiz 1 dated 22/7/2021 for class 1A. This is just an example. Adding questions. Now, when you start, one question is already here on the screen. So you can click here and say, for example, you want to ask the name of the student. Now here, it is an important thing to note that the questions can be different types. It can be short answer, can be paragraph, multiple choice, checkboxes, drop downs. So since full name is a short answer, we simply select short answer here. Now this option, as it says on the right, add question. So now I want to add question. Click here. And here, for example, I write down question number 1. Is this the first question? Now, just note, since we expect a yes or no answer here, I click here and I say multiple choice. And in the multiple choice, I click on the first option and I say yes. Now, if you notice, it is already suggesting the next one as no. Okay, we can click here or we can come to the second option and we can say no. This was our one question. Then we come here and say add another question. We click here, we say question number 2 and we can say this is which question number. Now this I have made just to show you that we can have multiple answers also. Like we can say this is question number 1. We click here, second option, we say question number 2 and we click here and we say question number 3. It is bringing 3 automatically. Now we bring another question and let's test another type of question. So we say question number 3. This question number is more than, and here we can click check boxes. Okay, now for example, we can say 1, the second one we can say 2, third one we can say 3, fourth one we can say 4, and we can have 5. So in this one, as compared to the previous one we can only have one answer, either 1 or 2 or 3. But here we can have multiple answers. So this question number, which is 3, is more than, so it is definitely more than 1, more than 2, but not more than 3, 4 or 5. So the answer will be the candidate, the student will click here and here. Okay, so we have selected check boxes here. Similarly, for example, we can have question number 4. Okay, this is question number, I'm just making simple questions, and we say drop down. Okay, and of course this is question number 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, and it saves automatically. You can see here, you don't have to save it after every option. There is one very good feature of Google Forms, that you can make the questions mandatory. So for example, we don't want the student to have a quiz answer but without his name. I mean, some students, they forget to write their name. So we click on this question so that it becomes active. Click, and you can see there is an option here to make it required. The moment you make it required, it means the student cannot skip this question. The system will not accept the form, the quiz, unless this question is there. So for example, when you're asking his name, you can make it mandatory. You can ask him which class he is, and you can make it mandatory. And even some of the questions you don't want him to skip, you can make it mandatory. Since you have made a quiz, we want to make it auto-corrected so that we don't have to go and correct the questions ourselves. We want the questions to be checked and marked automatically. In order to do that, go to the settings, this wheel here, and click on quizzes, enable, make this a quiz, and save. We'll come to the other settings later. Now, you have noticed that this new field has appeared on the screen. Click on this answer key, and the first question is about a full name, and you don't want him to mark on this, so we make it 0. Okay, and we say done. Similarly, to select the second question, click here, answer key, and you make it this one as 1 point. And what is the correct answer? You have to tell it. So is it the first question? The correct answer is yes. And done. So you have informed Google that if for this question the answer is yes, and the marks you have to give is 1. Now click on the second question, so this becomes active, and go to the answer key, one mark. Okay, let's make it 3 marks. This may be a difficult question, and you say this is which question number. So the correct answer is 2. So here you are not only giving the right answer, you are also giving the number of points the student will get if he does the answer correct. Done. Similarly, we come here and go to the answer key. This time we make it only 2 points, and the correct answer here is the question number is more than 1, more than 2. So once he clicks both these questions, then only his answer will be treated as correct. Done. And this is which question number? This was a drop down. Just to show you the functionality of drop down, we go to the answer key and we say 1 mark, and this is which question number? This is question number 4. Done. One important thing to remember is that when you want Google to mark it automatically, it will be very difficult if the question is a short answer. For example, you can say, what is the correct spelling of, for example, Germany? Okay, here since Germany has a very specific, a particular spelling, you can have this short answer and the thing can be corrected if the spelling is correct. But if generally if you ask him something, for example, you can say any other short answer, if he makes a small spelling mistake, even if he puts an additional space there, the system will make it incorrect. So be very careful. Short answer, automatic marking, you do it only if you know the student will be able to do the correct spelling, phrasing, spaces, etc. Let me show you a few of the settings which may be useful. Now there are three tabs. When we go to the settings, there are three tabs: General, Presentation and Quizzes. I'll go through it very quickly. Collect emails. Now if you want to collect their email addresses, you can click here. And once you click here, you have another option to click. You can click it yes or no. Is that whether, since you are taking an email address from the student, do you want him or her to receive the response via email? And again, there are options. If he responded request, then he receives the response, or he always receives a response via email. This was one option. I'm disabling it for the time being because you have to be very careful. This can become a little bit nuisance for the student. If it is really not required, then better don't ask for it. Now you want to limit the student to have one response only, because the student may come back and give you another response, two responses, three responses to the quiz. If you want to limit him to one response, remember that he has to sign in. Without that, he will not be able to give the quiz. So we don't want to do that, because this will again become slightly difficult. It can add nuisance to the quiz. Keep it simple. Now, do you want the respondent to edit after submit? Once he has submitted the quiz, he can edit after submit. So I think let's keep it disabled. Another thing is that, do you want him to see the summary chart? Okay, how many people have done it, how many people have done it right, and things like that. We keep it disabled. Coming to the presentation, do you want him to see the progress bar? Okay, how much percentage of the thing he has done? Now here, shuffle question order is very important in scenarios where you have more questions and there are chances that the students may pass on the answers to each other. So he can say the first one is true, the second one is false, the third one is true, and things like that. So if you shuffle the question order, it means that the first student may get the question in a different order, the second in a different order, the third in a different order. So the cheating by simply giving the question, like he cannot simply now say that the first one is true, the second one is false. He cannot leak this answer to another one. Even if he leaks it, the other student will do it wrong. So this is a good option if you have a chance that the student may do some cheating here. And for example, you want to keep a message after that, or your response has been recorded. You can write it here and type it. Quizzes, we already did this, make this a quiz. Now, his grade, you want to immediately release after each submission or later. Now, this is an important feature here. I'll spend a few seconds here. If you want the student not to share the answers with each other, a good option, a good practice is that you basically give a time slot to them and you say this quiz is allowed only from this time to this time, let's say 1 hour or 2 hours. And then later on, you can release the answers to them. So in this case, you will not give immediately after each submission. Okay, you can say after manual review. So you can be later, you can release the quiz, the answers to them. And if you really want to give immediately after each submission, don't give him the missed answers and the correct answers. He will only see his points. So if there are 10 questions, the student will know I have done 3 right or 4 right. But if you don't have any fear that the answers will be leaked or things like that, let him see his missed questions and the correct answers also, so that he can actually go and review. So it all depends on how you want to do it, depending on the situation, and you save it here. And one more option here, when you go to the set, you can come to the responses, and if you see here, the accepting responses is enabled. So as I said earlier, that suppose you want to give them 2 hours, for example, you send them the link at, for example, 2 o'clock, and at 4 o'clock you come back here in the responses and disable this. So what will happen after that, the student will not be able to give the response to this quiz. So this is one way of limiting the quiz. We come back to the questions, and now we want to invite the students. I go to send, and there are 3 options. You can send him through email, you can send him through link, or you can embed it into your website using an HTML embedding. But we use it here for simplicity. We simply use it as a link, and copy this link. Or if you want to shorten the URL, you can have a shorter link and you can say copy. And you can send this link to him by email or by WhatsApp. Generally, it is sent by WhatsApp. You can have WhatsApp groups where you can send him this link. So we copied it here. Now what will happen, once the student clicks on that link on WhatsApp, he will basically come here. This is how he will see the quiz. See, now it says quiz number 1, dated so and so, and it says star means it is required. And as you know, the full name is required. The star is mentioned here. So if you skip that, it will give you a mention that this is a required field. So I say my name is Ali, for example. Is this the first question? Yes. This is which question number? It is 2, but I deliberately make it wrong. So I said 3. And this question number is more than, I say 1 and 2. And this is question number, as you can see. Now there is a drop down. Again, I am making it wrong. So I have done right, wrong, right, wrong. And I submit. Sometimes you need more collaborators, more people who can maybe come back to the quiz and make changes to the questions or the answers, or even to see the responses. So since you have created this quiz using your Gmail login, how do you share this with others? So how do you make other collaborators? Come here in the 3 dots, click and say add collaborators. Now the simple way to do this is get link. Now here there are 2 options. Change. There are 2 options. Anyone with the link can edit, or if you really want to make it more secure, you can make it restricted, which means only people added can open with this link. So you create the link, share it with the people, but you have to add the people here. But the simplest way is that you simply say anyone with the link. Okay, you copy the link here and you share this link with the others whom you want to be the collaborators, and anybody with this link can come back to the quiz and edit it. Okay, now we have already created the quiz. How the collaborator comes back and sees the responses. In order to see it, let's add a few more responses. We already have added Ali's response. We now, let's say, give Samir's response, and let's say randomly we just simply say that this is what answer he has given, and we submit it. Let's create a third one. For example, now we can say Salman. He says yes, he says 1, he says 1, 2 here, and he clicks 2 here and submit. And for example, we say Huda, no, 2, 3, 4, sorry, 1, 2, and 4. So we have already created some responses so that we can see the responses now. Now this is how the collaborator sees. This is his screen. Any collaborator who has the link can also come here and see, and the original creator of the quiz can also see it here. You can see there are two tabs here: questions, where we were working till now, and in the responses you already see we have 4 responses. Let's click on this. There are again 3 tabs: summary, question, and individual. Very quickly going through it. You know what is the average points, average of all the students? Then similarly, you can see which is the frequently missed questions. We can see how many responses are there. So there are 4 responses: Ali, Samir, Salman, and Hoda. Then what is the insight on the questions? For example, on question number 1, 2 people have given the correct responses. In the question number 2, so the teacher can actually come here and see which questions are the ones where the students have made most mistakes and things like that. So this is the insight one. When you come to the question, you can actually see question wise. Like for example, is this the first question? How many responses were correct and how many responses were wrong? So question wise you can see. If you come to individual, you can actually see all the responses. Now when you have clicked on individual, you can see 1 of 4. So the first question paper belongs to Ali. His first question is right, second is wrong, third is right, and fourth is wrong. You come back here, go to the second response. So this is how you can see the individual response, and you know exactly how the student has done. You see a green cross here. Click here and it creates a spreadsheet for you where you can actually click open, and actually you can see all the responses in a tabular form. You can see the timestamp, when the student has done, what is his score, what is his name, what was the answer to the first question, to the second question, to the third question, to the fourth question, and so on. So this is how you can see everything in a tabular form. And in fact, you can come here, click, and you can download this as a CSV file, which you can save it on your hard disk, and later on you can open it in Microsoft Excel. You can also get email notification for new responses. So you want to get an email response whenever a new person has attempted this quiz, so that you can come back and see his responses. Okay, and there are some other good options also, like print and delete and things like that.
That's it. Hope we were able to learn how to quickly create quiz using Google Forms. If you liked this tutorial, please click on thumbs up. If you have any suggestions, please write in comments section. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.